My name is Christopher Saunders, and this is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, where we talk all things talents in Connecticut. And on today's show, I'm pleased to have not only a multiple-time state champion for the Southington Lady Knights, or as I call them in the broadcast, the Blue Knights, but the ladies, or Lady Knights in blue, actually, Ashlyn Desaulniers, who is the center fielder, just recently graduated and will be heading to Central in just the coming months. Ashlyn, great to be able to have you on the podcast.
Thank you. It's so great to be here.
Ashlyn, obviously, there's a lot to kind of go over, and we'll do the best we can in the short amount of time that I have you. Before we get into your time with Southington, the game of softball really, and I asked this about all incoming, first-time guests that I have on. How did their sport, which they are successful in, find them? So the game of softball, how did it find Ashlyn?
I think it started from a really young age. I mean, our feeder program for the Southington High School is SGSL out in Southington, and it provided just me like everything I could possibly need with softball, and I just fell in love with it from the age of 4, I think 4 or 3.
Is there any, was it a player? Was it just the game itself? Was there anything in particular that was like, I need to play that sport right now?
I think it was my dad. He kind of pushed me into that sport because he played baseball himself, and then he played softball himself at that time in the beer league. So I think that he really pushed me to like enjoy myself with something he likes to do, and he pushed me to do that myself.
As you were growing up in the early part of your career, was there any signs that there was something there? I mean, if your dad was throwing you at, 3 or 4 years old, if he was throwing wiffle balls, were you like hitting tank shots? I mean, talk to me about that.
I mean, I used to be really, really small, and I still am small. I'm only 5'3", but I used to be a really small kid, so I never used to hit anything like I do now. I used to always be that little fast little girl that they try to turn into a slapper, but I guess I just proved everyone wrong. And one day I started hitting, and then they put me in lessons, and that's how I ended up here.
So you talk about how the profile of you was as a slapper. And for people who may not know, in softball, there's a slapper trying to go the other way, hit the ball on the ground, and utilize your speed. When did that start to change as your profile as a player?
Definitely think around when I started travel ball, when I would only be a contact hitter, and then I would just start running. Um, but I think it changed when I started progressing and strengthening myself, when I started like just trying to hit the ball hard as I possibly could, and then see it go further, and then want to do it again and again, and just keep progressing on the tee and just doing everything I possibly could to hit that ball over the fence.
Is it safe to say, Ashlyn, that in some ways the way that people would profile and say you're a slapper, and some people would say, you know what, I am that. I'm tiny. I'm not that strong. That's my profile. For others, I would think that that would motivate them and say, you know what, I'm more than that. I want to prove you wrong. Is it safe to say, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but did it kind of make, a little bit more of a chip on your shoulder in a sense?
Oh, definitely. I was always the shortest on the team. Me and someone else would always be the two shortest, and they'd always be like, "Oh, well, they put us at the bottom of the lineup, or we'd be right at the top and just get on base and do whatever you possibly can to score. We don't want you to hit like bombs or anything." And I think it really pushed me to be like, "Oh, these girls are bigger than me, but I'm gonna hit better than them." So I think that's what pushed me.
When you look back on that too, now obviously I saw you play in the state title game and seeing you at the top of the order, seeing how you would be at the bottom of the order when you were younger. Could you ever have envisioned that, if you were to talk to your younger self, like, hey, when you're older, you're going to be at the top of the order hitting bombs? Do you think your younger self would believe that?
Probably not. Most definitely not at all. I don't think I wouldn't even be close to where I am today.
Now I want to talk about the minor league program, as I call in Southington and Sonia for football, because it
Mm-hmm.
just seems like no matter who is coming through that pipeline, it's just great player after great player. Uh, talk to me about that. And I know you mentioned the feeder program, but talk to me about kind of that journey through that program.
So I started off, oh gosh, I started off in the farm league when I was like 3 or 4, and then I ended up moving up early to minors, which is about the older elementary school, fifth graders. And I was still a little peanut, like third, second grade, just trying to hit kid pitch for the first time ever, and it went better than I thought. But I moved up about 3 years older than I should have, so it was already a big difference than what I normally was doing. And then I was always just the youngest and the smallest on all the teams I moved up to. And then once I got to 10, we stopped with SGSL. and we moved to Lightning, which is the travel program here in Southington. And I stayed there for about 4 or 5 years, and then I ended up with the Charmers now, where I am now.
So hearing about kind of how you were moving up playing with older players at such a young age, it seems to me that, I mean, was there a lot of quote unquote failure where you struggled in a sense?
Most definitely. Most definitely. I have one specific memory when I was my second year, third year of minor league, where I was playing one of my best friends now, actually Sam Rogers, who's on the Southington high school team with me. We were pitching against each other in the championship game, and it went 13 innings, and I hit a home run, and they called me back to third, and we lost the game because of it. So, and I always have those memories from that. I think it was the best time of my life, honestly.
So why did they call you back to third?
One of the coaches that wasn't on the other team, but it was just watching the game, said that the ball was in the infield, so I had to go back to third, which wasn't a rule. It was the circle, but the pitcher ran all the way out to the outfield to go get the ball because no one else would. So it was a very interesting game.
That sounds like something like a football play where you draw it up and you think of, okay, what's the craziest thing that could happen on a softball field? That sounds like that was one of them.
Probably.
Jeez.
Definitely.
And then, like you said, you lost the game, but it sounds like a thriller, 13 innings as well.
Oh yeah, being like an 8-year-old playing in one of those games is like that's how I still remember. I'm 18 and I remember from 10 years ago. I mean, it's always there.
Now, did you realize as you were moving up, even at a young age, that, okay, like typically a lot of players stay with their age group? Now, the ones who play against older competition, that speaks to not just their talent, but also the mental psyche to handle that. When you were talking about that, I was thinking of Bryce Harper when he would play with his brother back in the day. And I don't know if you're a baseball aficionado. I'm sure you are to a certain
Some
degree.
of it, yeah.
Yeah, some of it. So I remember watching the documentary on Bryce Harper. When he was 6, 7, 8 years old, he was playing with 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, year old players as a
Mhm.
young player. And his brother would say, like, he just stood out. So did you realize that you were standing out in front of highly talented older players?
I don't think I personally realized it. I think, oh, like, wow, I'm moving up. Cool. I think my parents more realized it, and that's why they try to put me in different like situations to try out for these teams and try out early and try out for tenure when you're 8 or do something else. But I didn't realize it at the time, and I kind of wish I did now. But
I could picture your dad in the background being like, "That's my kid.
yeah,
Just hit a home run off a 13-year-old and she's 9.
yeah,
Get at me." You know?
yeah.
That's great though to see you kind of move up through. Um, Now I want to talk about before you went to Southington. I'm sure, especially coming through the pipeline, you knew about the high school and all the wins and everything that comes with it. But being so young, did you actually know the success that they had at the high school?
I did know this. I knew that they were very good and that they win every year, like everyone else knows. I think I'm like the majority where like, oh yeah, they win. They must be like really, really good. And they just keep being good. And like they don't actually know what goes into it. And I just remember going to the championship game in like 2016, before I was even like thinking to be a freshman. I was like in seventh grade or something. And we
Mhm.
just watched them play and I was like, whoa, that's the first time I ever saw them play. And I was like, okay, like they even lost and it's still a great game. So that's when I figured out, okay, I want to do that.
And it's not many times that they lose in state championship finals.
No.
Not many. And it's funny that you talk about the expectation side because when I was talking with Coach Hernandez, Davina Hernandez, who's done like saying she's done a fine job with the program, I feel like is an insult because she's done even more than that, and that's no disrespect to the previous head coach. But she's just done fantastic. I asked her about, and a lot of questions I asked before the game was, how do these players handle the expectations? Because it's a lot each and every year where if you don't win it, you're looked at as the one class that didn't get it done, that team. But she said, there's no expectations. All I expect is hard work, and the girls, they do that. So I want to ask you, your freshman year, how were you able to, I guess, handle in some ways? Because let's be honest, high school and then what you did before, completely different.
Oh, most definitely. My freshman year, I went into it knowing that I wasn't going to be that standout player anymore because I knew I'm the young one. I'm a freshman, and there's seniors on the team, there's juniors on the team, there's sophomores. They know this program and they've played these people before. So I went in thinking I need to just do the best I possibly can and contribute to the team as much as I can instead of trying to like contribute myself and be like, oh, I'm the best. So I all I did my freshman year was run, and I think that's what we needed the most because I ended up running in the state championship game, and I ended up running in 2 games that were both ties, and we ended up winning because me and another freshman went in. So I think everything matters, no matter what you do on that field.
So it sounds like to me it wasn't difficult to kind of check the ego at the door because you knew it was for the betterment of the team.
Definitely.
And now you lost your sophomore year, correct, because of COVID.
Yes.
So with that lost season, as everybody, as far as the spring was concerned, baseball, softball, track, so on and so forth, lost lacrosse, lost their entire spring season. How were you able to handle that mentally? Because there was a lot of people who tried to look at the best case and work on their craft because they didn't have time because, as you would know, you go from spring softball, then right to summer where
Mhm.
it's nonstop. Like I remember, I think it was right after Massick won. I think that was on a Saturday. I saw some players went right to their summer team the next day, and I'm like,
Mhm.
there's no rest for the weary.
No.
So for you to lose that sophomore spring season, were you able to work on your craft more?
I think I had a different point of view on not having a sophomore season than most because during that time I actually was gonna quit softball in general and I was gonna stop everything and just I lost my passion for the game during it. I hated playing. I only played for people because they wanted me to play for them. I didn't play for myself anymore.
Really?
So I found my passion again once we hit high school season and once we hit the summer season right after spring and I fell in love with it again. I got away from like toxic environments surrounding the game and it just made me feel so much better and that's why I'm here now. So I'm really glad I didn't quit, but it was going to happen.
And I did not know that. So, and I don't want to go back to that negative stuff. I just feel like it kind of embodies and shows really the kind of triumph that you have. You talked about the negative stuff. Um, Again, mentally, going through COVID was mentally, taxing on everybody. I think everybody could agree with that. How are you able to, at such a young age, overcome what you were dealing with at the time where you said you almost quit the game that you played your entire life?
I mean, I just thought about would you want to stop playing with your best friends, like, and completely just drop everything, drop what you've been working for your whole life? Like, it's my sophomore year and I started when I was 4. Like, I don't know anything else other than softball. So it was like, do you really want to rearrange your whole life right now and like stop everything? And then I just got to talking with like my parents who supported my decision in whatever I wanted to do. And then I've met some people that I love and they just made me fall in love with the sport again and I'm still with them today and it just makes me so happy to think about that I found them at the right time and it just changed my whole perspective on the game.
And that's all that matters. I've always believed is that everything happens for a reason. And those people you met, whoever they are, plus the support of your parents, help keep your dream alive. Because I truly believe if you decide to quit, I think down the road, not saying that you weren't justified if you decided to, everybody has a reason to. But I feel like years down the road, you'd be kicking yourself like, man, I wish I stayed because you know what? I could have been nasty. Well, now you're going to be nasty because you're going to Central.
Yeah.
But and that's a fantastic story, like I said, of triumphant and overcoming that. So your next 2 years with Southington, I mean, obviously the amount of titles, wins, only what I think as for the 3 years, I think you only had couple losses the entire 4 years.
Yeah, me personally, I only had about 3, maybe 4 because I got moved up during my freshman year almost halfway through the season. So I only played with varsity for like half their season freshman year and then I played all junior and all my senior year.
Mhm.
And we only lost 2 games in those 2 seasons. So it was just crazy.
That's amazing, just literally amazing. So your senior season, now when did you commit to Central?
I committed last October around last fall season. I It was really late for me.
So during your senior year, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so by you committing that early, did it allow you to enjoy your senior year and not have to stress about everything that comes with your senior year?
I wish I could say yes, but no, it really didn't. I tried to help myself in college and take a bunch of harder courses that I could take throughout the year. And then when you commit, it's a lot lighter on the softball load until you get into high school season. So it was pretty light around there for the winter season. But once that spring season took up, it just went a million miles an hour.
So you took harder classes. So what you're saying is you're not only softball good, but you're also a brainiac in the classroom.
So so.
Okay, you know what? That's good though, because especially in colleges, you would know, and I would know, playing in college as well. You wake up, train, practice, class in between, you try to eat something, and then it's back to school, more practice, and then you know what? You get to do it every single day,
Yeah, I know.
as you know, or you will know actually. But so going through that, do you feel like in some ways it kind of prepared you for what will be college in just a couple months?
I think so. I think missing out on a bunch of things your senior spring season, like we didn't get to go to senior skip day or senior anything, like I think that prepared me for not being able to miss out for being able to miss out on things in college because of softball. So I think it's like, yeah, it's sad in the moment, but would you rather be doing that than doing this? So I think it like really gave me an opportunity to realize, okay, you're going to be missing that, but you get this instead. So it's like it's a mental choice and it's draining sometimes, but I think I'm glad with the choice I made, and I'm very happy that I'm continuing my career. So,
And you talk about the mental side again. It's crazy how much we've talked about the mental side and how strong you have to be. And it's starting to really show how mentally strong you had to be throughout your career.
hmm
So you're playing in the championship game against BC Bristol Central. As the game is going on, and there was one bad inning for Bristol Central, the runs started to pile up. When did it start to hit you that we're just a few outs away from winning a title in my final game wearing Southington Blue Knights as a uniform? When did it start to hit you?
I think it honestly it sunk in right before we even got there. It was just the bus ride. I almost started crying on the bus ride there because I was like, okay, this is it. Like it's different going into the tournament because okay, this could be the last game. This could be the last game. You don't know
Mhm.
until you get there, and we got there, so we were like, this is our last game. Like it's really hitting. Like we had a senior talk before the game even started. We all started crying. In the middle of the game when we were down, I think we were like, it didn't matter. It just didn't matter. We knew we were winning. We went in with a winning mindset, and we went in knowing no one's stopping us now. We got this far, we're going to keep going.
Mhm.
So we just I when we scored those runs, we were like, yep, okay, it's over, let's keep going.
It was so funny because in the beginning of the game, and all I heard about was, obviously the numbers and the stats you put up, right? And I told you this too after the game. When you hit the home run, right before you hit it, I was saying, Ashlyn, she hasn't really done much in this game. I've heard how she, 4 for 4, 5 for 5, whatever, a little bit quiet. And as I said, a little bit quiet, as I said, the quiet, you then hit a bomb to left. And I said, all right, she told me to shut up. She said, hold my beer. I'm gonna about to prove you wrong. So how was that hitting that home run?
I didn't even expect it. I was going in, I was like, okay, this could possibly be my last at bat of my whole high school career. And I just went in like, okay, I'm hitting the ball. I don't care where it is. I'm hitting it. I'm getting on base. And then I was rounding first base and I just started crying and bawling my eyes out. I was just rounding the bases and I was like, okay, I did it. Like, this is it. Like, I'm ending it there. I'm done. That's it. I'm not doing anything else anymore. It was just, I was ecstatic. I was so happy.
So as the final out was recorded and Southington, I mean, I know there's a little bit of a pause in between that before Southington was officially named the title champion. Talk to me about what was your first reaction? What was the first thought in your mind?
I was just like, do it again. And I was like, I don't have another season to do it again. I have to end it here. I wish I could play my whole life with this team. And that's so upsetting. But I just want to go back every day. I just was like, I can't do it again. I'm only here. And this is it. So it was really sad. But I'm so happy.
And now you're going to Central in the coming months. Now, when do you officially move in, or when do you start as far as with practice with Central? Do you know yet?
So I have my schedule out and I'm not sure when practice officially starts, but I want to say we start training in the first couple weeks, but I
Mhm.
move in August 27th.
Are you nervous? I know you're playing for a summer team, correct?
Yes.
Have you thought about Central yet, or is it nope? Got to do. I have to do my job with my summer team, then I will worry about Central.
I've definitely been worrying about Central, most definitely. Like Division One college, playing softball, like just even going to college. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, I'm here now. It's like you never thought it would come.
And weren't they just in the World Series?
For softball, I don't think so.
I thought, or maybe it was the Supers then. I know they made it pretty far. It was either Supers or World Series they were in.
I don't think we made it this far that this year. I think maybe last year, but not this year. We didn't make it that far.
Okay, I thought Central did. I know obviously baseball won the entire thing. I
Mhm.
know that, but I thought they did as well. Maybe I'm wrong. But Ashlyn, great to be able to have you on. I really do appreciate it. Before I let you go, before your, one chapter is done as far as your career, for anybody who will be watching this as far as the Southington players, incoming Southington players, and so on. What is your final remarks or your final outlook as far as your time with the Southington Lady Knights in blue?
Honestly, it was the best 4 years of my life. I mean, I've been playing with them since I was 10, and then I had to stop playing with them. And then I got to play with them again only in high school. And it was just enjoy the moment. Like, I know everyone hates practice. I know everyone hates going right after school, going to practice for 3 hours every single day, getting out late every single time. But it's so worth it. And it made my high school career, like my high school career. I wouldn't have been who I was without softball. And I just hope that everyone that wants to pursue a career in any sport, not just softball, just anything, just keep pushing through because it's going to turn out so good in the end.
Ashlyn, best of luck as far as with your summer team and also with Central. I hope to get you back on here, maybe before your season if you decide to want to come back on here. Great to
Yeah.
be able to have you come on, and this was a fun conversation.
Thank you so much.
No problem. That wrap things up here in the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. So until next time, stay safe. Remember, CT stands for Connecticut Talent. I'm Andre. Find them all. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody, and be well.